Hello, hello. Welcome to day 5 of our Duchess coat from Ellie and Max sew along. We've basically got it done. All we have to do today is add buttons and buttonholes and make our belt really quick, and then we've got a finished coat. I'm so excited. I went through and I top stitched it. I top stitched around the sides, around the skirt, around the collar where it connects to the coat. And then I also top stitched the sleeves just because I noticed when I tried it on that the lining likes to kind of slide and the sleeve likes to go in a little bit more. So I wanted to top stitch that too. And I tried it on and I was like texting and messaging everybody I know. I'm like, you have to make the Duchess coat. It's amazing. Like, I can't believe that I let my insecurity hold me back from making it before, because it is a easy sew. The instructions are great. Sewing it's not crazy hard unless you don't pay attention to how you're attaching your skirt pieces. But I can't believe I held myself back from doing this, and I'm so glad I finally was brave enough to do it, because it is I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited. Okay. So first thing we need to do is add buttons and buttonholes. And this is where I start to get nervous, because I use the buttonhole. I have a automatic buttonhole maker for my sewing machine here. And sometimes it works and it's fantastic. And sometimes it does not work and it is a complete nightmare. If you've ever had to seam rip a buttonhole before, no point. You might as well just start again, because it is a disaster. But I'm really hoping, since this is nice and stabilized with the stabilizer or with the interfacing, and it's got, the top has the stretch to it, the bullet has stretch to it, but then the lining doesn't. So I'm really hoping that this works well, because if not, y'all might see me cry on camera. I'm just kidding. Not really. We'll figure something else out. Okay, so if you have an automatic buttonhole maker, and if you have like a surefire, like, do this next time, please drop it in the comments, because I need some tips on perfect buttonholes, because sometimes they're great and sometimes they're awful. All right, so if you have an automatic buttonhole maker, what you need to do is you just need to put the button in the back of your buttonhole maker. And this just tells your button, your machine, how far to take your buttonhole so that it can actually fit the button you're making. So you just put that in the back and attach your foot, which I just realized my camera's not on, so you can't see. Let this one in here. Okay, there you go. So you just attach your foot, make sure it's nice and straight and on there good. And then you're going to come to your machine. Let's see if you can see this here. And you're going to just pick the buttonhole that you want. So I prefer just a straight rectangular buttonhole that's got some nice satin stitching all around it. I feel like it's got a good look to it, and it's a nice strong buttonhole. Now, my next piece of advice is remember that your button is in your buttonhole maker, because I inevitably always forget, and I'm like, oh my goodness, where is it? Okay, so the buttons go on the smaller portion, and then the wrap is going to have our buttonholes. I'm just going to confirm that is indeed okay. Yeah, it is. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to do my buttonholes first, and we're going to put them in 4 different places. We're going to put them on the collar, and then 1, 2, 3 on our on the front side piece, or the front center piece. Make sure the markings are on the pattern pieces, so I definitely would recommend marking those on your fabric. Now, with buttons, I have to remember it always goes back, button back. So I need to start it at the front of where my buttonhole needs to go. I'm going to line up. I'm going to move this really quick, see if you can see it. It'll be frustrating, but okay. So I'm going to line up where my buttonhole needs to go in the middle of these three red spaces. Oh, hello. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can get too much closer. Okay. Oh, no, we just lost it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, so there's 3 red lines on my buttonhole maker, and I'm going to line up where I need the buttonhole to start on those lines. And then what we need to do, so my machine, if I unplug the foot pedal, will do it all on its own. I've done that, and then it freaks out, and then I freak out, and I forget to turn it off. So I'm going to do this by foot pedal, and I'm actually going to turn it to middle speed instead of top speed. That way, too, I can kind of keep a little bit closer eye on it. And then I decided to just go with, I am so sorry, with light blue for my buttonholes, because I have the light blue in the back, and I thought at first I was going to do black, but then I was like, I'll bring that color to the front. So here we go. Let's start. Oh, yeah, that's right. Don't forget to lower your buttonhole lever. I think it goes in the front. Okay, here we go. Back, button back. Why is it going the other way? Okay. I don't know why it's going the opposite way. Probably just because it's me. And it's like, I don't think so, friend. Oops. Pull that out. Sorry about this, y'all. Okay. We'll take 2. So we're going to start it now. Watch, I'll start it now at the front, and it'll go the opposite way. That's how things usually work for me. Okay, here we go. It is just not loving this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I'll try one more time. For some reason, my feeds dogs aren't activating it. Oh my goodness, I told y'all it would happen. Button back. I kept telling myself that. Because what it was doing is it was doing a lock stitch. Sometimes I'm just like, why did you not trust yourself, girl? I told you, I was nervous about this. Button back. All right. Let's try this one more time. I think I said that last time, but... I don't want to jinx it. I'm not saying anything. My bobbin thread is running out. You've got to be joking. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Okay. Let's quick line this bottom. At this point, I'm just like, maybe I should just restart this video. But no, I'm so close to being done, and this is real life. So, welcome to the real life button sewing with Melissa. I would not have won that game of Bobbit Chicken, and I would have been devastated. Okay. So that should be enough for this one. Perfect. I think it should start right where I left off. So let's just trim these threads and put it right where it stopped. Need to make sure the fabric's nice and flat. Okay. Ooh, that did not sound good. I don't think it came all the way. Okay. It's not the world's prettiest buttonhole, but it'll work. So, take 2, button back. So let's line it up here. Okay, here we go. Not sure what happened there. My thread kind of tangled up. It got a little too close to the edge there. Still okay. We're not. Oh, that might be why I forgot to flip that guy back over. He probably got in the way. Okay. Button 3. Button back. Let's snip this in a little bit. See, the problem is I can't like change where they start because I want them to line up. So I'm not pushing, I'm not pulling, I'm simply just making sure that the fabric is moving. That one's like perfect. So far, 1 out of 3, 1 perfect, 3 okay. I'm not upset about that. All right, number 4. Let's do this one. Let's see. Okay. So again, I don't know if it was done. Okay, it must be done. It's just going. Usually it stops. I think I restarted it. All right, so the buttonholes for, sorry, just clipping threads here. The buttonholes for 3 and 4 looked good. They're not exactly even, but that's okay. The buttonhole for 2 looks good, but it's way at the end here. And the buttonhole for 1, we struggled, and I'm happy with it. So it's okay. All right, so next what we need to do with our buttonholes is we need to take our seam ripper. I've got this super awesome one from Tula Pink that it's like a mini scalpel. And when I got it, my husband was like, you planning to do some surgery? It's like, no, it's for fabric. But he doesn't trust me with knives, so I think I just scared him. All right, so we're just gonna stick it through the space between the stitches and just carefully open that up without cutting those stitches. So that should be about right. This one's going to be a mess because the stitches were a mess. Okay, and then the same for this one. I'm going to do it here. I think it should be okay. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Here we go. So just between 2 bits of stitching, not through the stitching, just between them. Okay, should get a button through there. And same thing here. The other thing you can do is you can go through with your seam ripper and poke a little hole and then either seam rip it or cut it with your scissors. Okay, so there's our buttonholes. Put this sharp object back in its protector so we don't end up jabbing ourselves. Always a danger with me. All right, remember your buttons in the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I can get my button through my buttonholes. Perfect. Yep. Yay. So it's not great, right? It's not 100% perfect. It's made by me, and I love it. And that's all that matters. All right, so now that we've got our buttonholes made, now I'm going to switch out my buttonhole maker. We're going to lift this up. Switch out the buttonhole maker, and I'm going to actually put in a button foot. And what this is going to do now is it's going to allow me to put my buttons where they go on the fabric. So this one I had to put a pin because the marks were slightly off. So I want to make sure, or hard to see, not slightly off. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the button under the buttonhole, and there's a little, let's see if we can get it this time. Okay, you can't quite see it, but there's a little gray, a little silver thing here, and I'm going to line that silver thing up in between the buttonholes. And the button goes here. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that's spaced in between two of the buttonholes. I'm going to pick a button, stitch, and then what I need to do is I need to make sure that the stitch width is accurate. Okay. Now that it is, I just let my machine take over. Okay, and then we're going to move the next one up. Same thing, just check to make sure that the width is good and the placement, button placement is good. And then what I like to do is I actually like to do them across from each other as well, so that it forms like two lines and then it forms an X, just to give it some extra oomph in case something happens and it needs a little helping hand. Especially on a coat, there's going to be a lot of like pulling, and so I just want to make sure my button is nice and attached, because the last thing we want is a missing button. Okay, so just checking that these are placed properly. Okay, so there's one button. It's pretty secure, like probably overly done, but in my mind, better safe than sorry. So the back doesn't look the prettiest. It's okay, nobody should see the back. Okay, so next button, and I'm just doing single breasted. You can do double, and I think it would look amazing, but I just want single this time. Okay, here we go. There's number one. Two. And then we need to go, oops, that might help. Okay. This way. And now this way. Okay. Another thing that you should do is leave a longer tail and then bring your threads to the back and then tie a knot. That just gives it another bit of security. I'm fairly confident in how well I put the buttons in, but like if I'm doing kids' clothes especially, I make sure to tie it in the back as well, just to give it that extra bit, because you don't want little ones. Like my kids like to chew on things. I don't understand why, but the last thing you want is a kid to chew on a button and then it pops off in their mouth. So I kind of do everything I can to, especially when it's kids, or like something that I think it's going to be, need a little bit more. Come on, friend. Okay, fine. And this is probably overkill, but like I said, I just would rather be safe than sorry with buttons. All right, one more button, and then all we have to do is put together our belts, and we're done. Yay! Oh no! Oh, here it is. I was like, oh no. Perfect. With the belts, so they don't have you attach it to the coat at all. And at first I was like, I don't think I like that. And then I got to thinking about it and I was like, actually, it makes perfect sense, because if I attach it to the coat, then every time I wear the coat, I have to have the belt, because otherwise if it's just hanging down, I don't think it would look bad, but so maybe I'll attach it later. But I'm going to try this way. It's just kind of an accessory. I don't have to wear it with the coat if I don't want to, but I can. I'm just worried, though, that if I wear it, it'll slip down. So I might just end up tacking it to it. I don't know. I haven't decided. All right, one more. And then we're done with buttons. If you don't want to do the belt, after this, you're done. You've made a coat. Sorry, I'm like way too excited about this. It's okay. All right. So there we go. We've got our buttons. Ooh. Those buttons actually work really, really well. And our buttonholes. Awesome. Okay, let's quick make our belt and then we're finished. Let's just get this out of the way. If you haven't yet, make sure you put some interfacing on both of the belt pieces, because you want it to be nice and sturdy and strong and not stretchy. So I need to, pardon my reach, I need to put this pin away or it's going to stab me. My pins are always out for blood. All right, so one last thing and we're finished. I can't believe it. I can't believe we made this. I am so excited. All right, so if you haven't already, you need to put interfacing on your belt. And then we need to place the belt side pieces right sides together, aligning the shorter raw edge. And then just using 1/4 inch seam allowance, we're going to attach those two together. Okay. Helps if we turn our machine on. Now, what we need to do is we need to sew it right sides together. We need to go short edge all the way down the long edge, all the way down to the other short edge, but leaving a small gap. So like probably 2 inches is good. So let's start with that. 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're going to sew a short edge. And the pieces are right sides together. I'm sorry if I don't. mentioned that earlier. Okay, now we're going to sew along down the long edge using 1/4 inch seam allowance. I should have pressed it first, but it'll be okay. I'll press it after we do this. Okay, I'm about to get to the halfway point. Oof. It keeps falling. We're getting there. All right, now I'm going to leave a 2-inch gap right about here. Close to the end, but not quite at the end. Okay, I definitely should have pressed that. Wow. Now we're going to go and sew the other short end. And we are going to turn it right sides out. There we go. I'm having deja vu of turning the handles for the Ellie and Mac tote bag. Ooh, those were intense. Okay, make sure it's pushed out. I'm going to use my purple thing. Make sure those corners are good and pressed out. Okay. And then we're just going to continue turning it the rest of the way. Everybody's working on getting our garden plot set up for next year. We have a small homestead, so they're out there getting it all ready to plant next spring, or this spring, goodness. And I was like, you guys have fun, I'm gonna go sew. I'm gonna finish this scout. I probably could have used my tube turner, but what's the fun in that? I say that, but we've got like halfway. We're just over halfway. After this, though, we just need to top stitch it, and then it's done. It's so thick. The cat's on the roof. Some people have fiddlers, we have cats. No, we just have one cat. And we have someone who wants to be a fiddler. My oldest would like to learn how to fiddle. But I told him he can't do it on the roof, so. All right. Now, all we're going to do really quick is just press it. Now we've got a nice crisp felt to work with. Problem with pressing this is that I've noticed the bullet doesn't really like to take a press very well. I think it's just because it's so thick, but it's okay. I'll just give it a quick once over. Alrighty. Now all that's left is to top stitch it and top stitch that opening closed. And then we're done. Okay. So we just need to top stitch all the way around, making sure when we get to this opening that we tuck it in 1/4 inch. And make sure that my seam is on the side, not floating out in the middle. Okay, so here we are, close to that opening, and I'm just going to close that opening 1/4 inch, tucking it in 1/4 inch, and then just sewing it shut. There's a little bit of a... Okay. Oops. I think I got a little bit twisted when I made that opening. So I'm just trying to remind the fabric which direction I would like it to go in. I'm like, okay, I give up. We'll get you there eventually. Just gonna stitch around and back down the other side. And then I'm just gonna stitch over a couple inches, or like an inch or so, of the stitches that I started. We'll turn here just to help lock those in a bit. And voila, we are 100% finished with our Duchess Go. I'm so excited. So let's see. Let's see how it looks. It might not fit quite right because this shirt that I'm wearing is not quite not something I probably would normally wear underneath it. But let's see. Moment of truth. Arm goes in perfect. Other arm, perfect. I did add an inch length to the sleeves. And I'm glad I did, because that is perfect. All right, let's see. Look how gorgeous this is. Probably should have done a full bust adjustment. I don't think I probably could have done the double breasted without it. That, yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Tie belts around. No freaking way. We did it. Look at it. This is slightly off, but it's gorgeous. Oh my word. Yes, 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 yes. Ah! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you. Just thank you. I can't believe how awesome this looks. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see yours. So definitely, please, please, please share it because I need to see all the love. All the Duchess coat love. Ah! Okay. I will see y'all next week. We will be doing the 5 out of 4 agility tank. I'm super excited about that one too. I'm loving these sew alongs because all of these are like ones that I've wanted to sew before and I just haven't because they intimidate me or I'm kind of like, but I love it. I love it. I hope y'all love it as much as I do because so excited. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this week and I will see you next week. Yay!